Okay, so my phone overheated. That hadn't happened in a while. What that tells me again is they were actively listening to my conversation I was having outside with these young black kings. Okay, and I got in the house, started doing the video, phone overheated. I did a 40-minute recording this morning. Okay, because they were using my neighbor upstairs, to engage in noise campaign, and then they were using the sirens also. I had on the remote no monitoring, and when I started the recording, they stopped, like immediately stopped. So I couldn't even get any, you know, any of the noise campaign or the video, what have you, and I let that um, that recording lasted 40 minutes. Okay, so and again, my phone didn't overheat. It was fine. But anyhow, let's get back to the Bacon Rebellion, right? So where was I? I'm just gonna read this over. It says, once released, Bacon declared himself the leader of the colony's former indentured servants, freemen, black and white, newly arrived landless immigrants from England, Scotland, and Ireland, and enslaved blacks, all of whom bonded together because of their what common exploitation on the large tobacco estates. Understanding that the promotion of their grievances served his own interests of power and additional land, Bacon marched on Jamestown, the colonial capital, with 500 men and confronted Governor Berkeley, who escaped. Bacon then issued his Declaration of the People, right, on July 30, 1676. In this document, he accused Governor Berkeley of corruption and of being pro Native American. The rebellion then meandered uh, through the late summer months. On September 19, Bacon and his followers returned to Jamestown and battled forces loyal to Governor Berkeley. He forced Berkeley and his followers to retreat and then burned the town. Okay, despite his victory, Nathaniel Bacon died of uh, dysentery in the Virginia bush in October 1776. John Ingram took over leadership of the rebellion, but by that point, many of Bacon's followers had deserted the cause. British Royal Navy Captain Thomas Grantham, commander of the 33-gun warship, the Concord, confronted the remaining 400 rebels, indentured servants, freemen, and slaves at their makeshift fortification called West Point. Um, Grantham persuaded most of the men to disarm and surrender, but 80 enslaved men and 20 Englishmen resisted. Grantham promised them pardon once they left the fortification and returned with him to the Concord. Once on the vessel, his soldiers and sailors forced their capitulation. Although pockets of rebels throughout Virginia continued to resist colonial authorities into 1677, the confrontation at West Point effectively ended the rebellion. So here you have enslaved people, free black people, Europeans, okay, banding together under who? The leadership of Nathaniel Bacon. Again, he is a wealthy landlord also, right? So I look at it like this: you look at today's political spectrum. You have the Democrats, the Republican, both sides of the same coin, right? They who will use their constituents, particularly their poor constituents. The Republicans use poor whites. The Democrats use poor blacks, poor Hispanic, working class blacks, Hispanic, white people, poor again, liberal or whites, blacks, Hispanics, whoever, right? But they both use us for their agenda, and their agenda is not what they say it is. They tell us one thing, but when they get into political office, they serve the interests of not the people, but the wealthy corporations and the wealthy business class, right? And businessmen, let's put it, the elites. The elites are the ones that are in control. When you look at the shadow government, who is the shadow government, right? But the elites, the military-industrial complex. Okay, do go and do some research into these businesses, like for example Target, and see what other business they're involved in. Okay, just go look, just for curiosity's sake, right? And you'll see. So after this, now again in Beverly D'Angelo's book, um, Invention of Whiteness, and I do have it on my Kindle. I'm not gonna pull it up right now, but I'll do a read in some parts of that book. And when she says that that was when the wealthy planter class decided that they cannot have blacks, whites, whoever else joining together to cause another rebellion. And so created the term white people. Anyone who's of European descent, whose skin is white. Okay? Because before that, there was no white people. Before that, people saw themselves having the same interests, right? Or in the same struggle together, and joined together to what? Wage war on their oppressors, even though it was led by a wealthy landowner also. Okay? Because they all, listen, both sides, they serve their own interests and the interests of their corporate donor or their wealthy donors. All right? It is very rare that you will find people who will go into political office and remain true to who they are. If they're grassroots, they will no longer become grassroots. If they're somewhat revolutionary minded, they will no longer become that. Why? Because of the things that happens to them while they're there. Okay? Not also that too, but you also have, the CIA, the FBI, certain groups, the Anti-Defamation League, all this stuff, that are literally setting these senators and Congress people up, right? So they can blackmail them. You know, I got to read the book, America. Shoot, I do have the book, but it talks about the rise of Jeffrey Epstein, and how he had access to, I mean, this guy had military clearance. He was one of Mossad agents, right? And his job was to entrap people and get the dirt on them. This is why he talks about, these parties where he would have young people and all these celebrities would be there, including Bill Clinton, including Hillary Clinton, including who else? A bunch of people, right? And guess what? They were having sex with young teenage girls and probably boys too, right? So it is a way to blackmail people, particularly people in political office or powerful people or wealthy people. Okay? And so when you see that happen, then you come down to the low of society, and you see the police departments, churches, police officers or predator officers who in certain churches, they have that same ideology, because you know why? They are also given information. They see what's happening, and they're like, oh, you know what? Shit, we could do that here. Okay? And I'm telling you, if you look within the court system all across America, particularly the family court system, okay, a lot of these court officers, right? A lot of these court officers, they are using their position as court officers and influencing these judges, particularly in for child support, right? And what they do, if they see a very good looking woman come in, they will approach her, recruit her, and tell her, hey, let's go out to dinner, such and such. And then, they talk about, so, oh, my child father, this, and that, and that. And they're like, okay, but you know what? We can get you, this is what they do. This is what they do. Okay? When people in position of power and authority, you must understand that if the culture is rotten, it's going to be rotten. And any good person that comes in, right, they're either going to leave because of the rottenness of it, or they're going to become rotten. Okay, this, as they said like what they always talk about the good cops. Don't let a few bad apples spoil the bunch. And I keep saying to myself, why do they keep saying that? Hmm? When the vast majority of those people on the police force, they're the rotten ones, right? And then the few that are good will either become rotten and spoil the whole damn bunch, or if they do something about it, their career will be destroyed, their family will be destroyed. They use every tactic on whistleblowers, whether it be in the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, the police department. Go look at police officers who blew the whistle of corruption in the police department and see what happens to them. The same tactics that they use on TIs, VSTIs, right? Those whistleblower cops or those whistleblower people within the government, they are also being targeted like how we are. All right.